setup.
Okay.
Okay,
Today, hack the box or try hack me? Which
hack the box only. Okay, so try hack me was just I refer to it for one machine.
okay.
Other than that, we are going to continue with hack the box only.
Okay.
Yeah. So I already have my VPN setup as you can see here
Yeah.
with my Ton Zero interface available here.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. So let's deploy a machine in my network. And today we are going to do, let's do Valentine.
Okay.
Valentine. Yeah. Here it is. Let's deploy it. 10, 10, 10. Let me see. 70 something.
Okay.
Yeah.
79.
10, 10, 10, 79. Okay. So the machine has not been deployed yet. Okay, let's click on it again. Clicks to start machine. You already have an active machine. Okay. 10, 10, 10, 79. Right. So let's ping this machine.
Okay.
And here I can see that I can ping it. It's successful. Okay, stop it here. And so let's create a directory over here. I have already created it. Let's do a very basic nmap scan. 10, 10, 10, 79. Let's
Okay.
copy it, let it run, and then do a full port scan
Okay.
here. So I'm running a very basic nmap scan first of all. Okay. And then I'm running a full port scan.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So,
So we can reduce this nmap scan timing. Like if I run a full port scan, I'm getting the result after a long time. So
yes.
is there any way to reduce the, I mean, latency or something?
Yes, definitely we can reduce the timing. Okay,
Uh-huh.
that is possible, but that increases the unreliability. Okay, that
Okay.
makes the scan more unreliable. So
Uh-huh.
every time you are going to do full port scan, every time it is going to take a lot of time.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, so we need to live by that thing only.
No problem.
So, but definitely we have flags like hyphen capital T,
Yeah.
4 or 5,
Mhm.
which can increase the timing.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, decrease the timing.
But the problem is not a reliable or accurate result.
Yeah. So maybe there is some important port which is being missed by the nmap,
Ah,
and we
okay.
keep on banging our head on the wrong wall.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's the thing.
Sir, can you suggest me any particular link or YouTube video to learn basic Python? Not in deep depth, just a
Python.
basic.
Sure, definitely. You can just go to the basic Python. You can learn from Telescope.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, fine.
Hello, welcome to the postgraduate program in Artificial Intelligence and Machine Learning offered by the University of Tech. Do you want to learn programming in a fun way? And that too, the fastest growing language.
Well,
Okay.
so I can have a look here. But anyways, there are going to be a lot of resources.
Okay.
Only thing that you need to do is just type Python here, Python for beginners,
Okay.
and what just go through some 2 or 3 tutorials from different people, and
Okay.
whatever suits you, whatever.
Yeah, the symbol language and all.
Right, right.
Yeah.
So it depends upon human to human, right? Like something is good for me, and maybe it is not that good for you, something
Yeah,
like that.
correct. Correct.
Yeah. But still, if you ask me, I'll suggest you this one.
Okay.
Sharing it here.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
All right. Let's close it here. Let's go back here. And what I can see here is I can see a bunch of ports.
2280443.
Right. So these are very famous ports: SSH, HTTP, and HTTPS. Right. So, okay. Let's run a
Version.
version detection scan against it.
Okay.
Okay, so our version detection scan is also completed now. Okay,
Okay.
so yeah, and what I can see here is I can see an open SSH running here. Okay, so
Yeah.
whenever you are going to see an SSH running, SSH is going to be our last point of enumeration. Okay,
Okay. Okay.
but why so? Why should I be ignoring SSH at first of all? Prima facie, I'm not going to be concerned about the SSH.
Because basically the SSH login only allowed for root, no, root user. No, not for that.
No, that is not precisely correct, I would say. See, why we are not going to be concerned with that is because, see, if SSH is vulnerable, it is going to be like serving you the shell in a golden platter. Okay, it is like it's SSH is a right away entry to the target system, right? So
Yeah.
99% of the time, SSL is not going to be the way of entry, prima facie. That means that maybe you can use SSH, but before that you need to exploit or enumerate the target some other way. Maybe you need to identify some credentials somewhere else, and then later on use SSH to gain access,
Okay.
right? So prima facie, SSH is not going to be of any help, but the knowledge of this fact that okay, I have SSH running, that is important,
Yeah.
so that you should be on the lookout that if anywhere I am going to find any credentials, I'm going to come back here and I'm going to try SSH.
Okay. Fine.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So ignoring the SSH for now, let's go ahead and look into port 80. And port 80 says it's a Apache server running here.
Yeah.
Okay. What else? Port 443. 443 says Apache server. 22222. Okay. Okay. So what else can I do here? I can just right away try to open this URL in the browser,
Yeah.
try to see if something is being revealed there. That's what I can try to do. Okay, so let's do this thing. Let's go. Oops. 10, 10, 10, 79. And some sort of an image is here. Okay.
Okay.
So actually this image is depicting something here. Okay. I'm going to come back to this image as well. We are going to discuss it as well. Let's do control T, HTTPS / 10, 10, 10, 79. Advance, accept risk and continue. The same image is available here as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So, okay. Let's do one thing. Let's try to uh, run a vulnerability scan using Nmap. And I have already talked about how to do a vulnerability scan using Nmap, I believe in our first session, first or second session. So let's go back here. Let's do Nmap. Everything is like this. Hyphen script vln. Okay. Some sort of output is here. Okay, it's still running.
Okay.
Okay, so it's completed now. And let's try to see if any vulnerability is being identified by the Nmap. So here I can see nothing here, nothing here. /dev. It has found some sort of directory.
Yeah. Direct index and def.
Yeah, /dev and /index. Okay. Okay. And what else? We have certain vulnerabilities here,
Yeah.
and we have got SSL Heartbleed, and it says it states vulnerable. Okay.
Risk factor high.
Yeah. So basically, what it is telling me here is Nmap is telling me that the target is vulnerable to SSL bleed or sorry, SSL Heartbleed.
SSL. Ah.
Okay.
Ah.
And the sign that I was being provided at the website was of the Heartbleed itself.
Yeah.
Okay. If I just go back here,
Correct. Correct.
right.
Yeah.
So this image is also a hint. Like if you are not scanning it through Nmap, this image in itself is going to hint you that try for Heartbleed. Okay. If see, I know certain vulnerabilities uh, due to my experience. Okay,
Yeah,
that
correct.
the
Correct.
HTTPS, probably there is some sort of heartbleed vulnerability in OpenSSL library,
Yeah.
and I can just look into this image and get myself hinted that okay, I can try for heartbleed. But if someone who does not know anything, he can try to do a vulnerability scan and
Okay.
identify the vulnerability here. Okay,
Okay.
okay. So identified. There is one more tool which can be used to confirm if Heartbleed exists on the target server or not.
Okay.
Okay. Again, you can say it's a vulnerability scanner only, but for HTTPS.
Okay.
So let's do this. The name of the tool is SSL Lies. Let's do -H for opening up the help menu. Open up the help menu and let's do SSL Lies hyphen. Yeah, here it is. Test a server for the OpenSSL Heartbleed vulnerability.
Okay.
Let's copy this, paste it, and mention the target. The target is just mention the 10 10 10 79 and press enter.
Yeah.
Checking the host availability, and the output is simply trying to affirm me that the target is vulnerable to Heartbleed.
Yeah.
Okay, so one thing is assured now that I should be trying for the Heartbleed exploitation here.
Yeah.
That's what I should be looking for. Okay,
Okay.
that's one thing. Okay, the full port scan is still running, and it is going to keep on running until even after the class is over. Okay,
Exactly.
this takes a lot of time.
Yeah.
Okay, now let's run a GoBuster as well.
Yeah.
GoBuster, yeah, so
And
that I'm not missing anything, any sensitive directory over
okay.
my target. 10 10 10 79 hyphen W user share word list dub and common.txt. Let's run it and let's keep this thing running.
Okay.
And here also I can see certain slash dev directory being revealed,
Yeah.
and it was being revealed by nmap as well.
Yes.
Okay, okay, let's see. I'm going to explore it as well, but I'm just waiting for this to complete as it's already 50% done.
Okay.
So the GoBuster is completed. Okay, and okay, let's try to explore these directories now. Okay, so 403s are of not my interest, but still I'll still check the slash CGI bin.
Okay.
Can I find anything here? Slash dev,
Some.
not found. I have something at slash dev.
Yeah.
I have something like decode. It is opening 200 and slash encode. It is also opening. Okay, let's not worry about that. So first of all, let's try to exploit the heartbeat. Let's see how can I exploit heartbeat. Just search for heartbeat. Exploit. A little bit about heartbeat. This is the logo for this vulnerability.
Okay.
Okay, let's go back. Exploit. I cannot find any exploit code here. Let's do GitHub. The first link. I'm going to open the first link and let's just clone this URL.
Okay.
I believe I have already cloned it here. Uh, yeah, I already have this .py, but I'm going to change my directory to, let's say, cd temp and do a git clone here. cd heartbleed. This is my heartbleed file. Let's try to run it. Python heartbleed. Let's do -h for host. Host is 10 10 10 79. Let's press enter. What does it say? It says hostname or IP address port. TCP port. Okay, TCP port भी mention कर देते हैं. TCP port is 443. Let's say.
Okay.
Not running. Let me try to run it using Python 3. Invalid syntax. Okay. Maybe this is not the right exploit. So I'll go about looking for some other exploit. Let's use this one. Another exploit that I just searched for here. This is the second link. Okay, this is this link. The first exploit was not working, so I'm going to use the second one. Let's go to raw, Control A, Control C, or let me just download it. Control A, Control C, cd ls rm space -r. Okay, NKDIR, Heartbleed, CD Heartbleed, wbit. Let's run this file python heartbleed.py. Okay, and it is giving me certain options like -p for port, N for number, SFVXRADE. Okay, let's run it. Usage is Heartbleed space target server space options. Let's do Heartbleed. Target server is 10.10.10.79, and option is let's do -v for verbose and -x for enable hex output, enabling the hex output, and yeah, this much would be fine. Let's press enter, and I cannot see anything here. Nothing here, huh?
Yeah.
Let's do -n for number of times. Let's run it 100 times and save the output in a file so that it is easy for me to modify anything, and give it a name as memory leak.txt. So actually what is Heartbleed? If I need to explain the vulnerability in itself, Heartbleed is basically a what shall I say, memory leak vulnerability in an OpenSSL library,
Okay.
XFCD. Let me try to explain it to you with the help of some comic. Yeah, here it is. So it's like when you are trying to communicate with the target server, for ensuring that okay, you do have an active connection, what your client does is client consistently sends a message to the server that it's like if I'm taking your session, if I have a active session with you, okay, and I want to confirm that okay, I want to confirm every 2 minutes that Fazal is not sleeping. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, hi Fazal, are you there? Hi Fazal, are you there? And I'm going to wait for your reply,
Yeah.
right? But what happens here technically is I'm going to say, hi Faisal, uh, I'm sending you this word, send it back to me.
Yeah.
Okay, just say this to me so that I know that okay, you are listening and you are awake and you are into your senses. So it's like the same is here. What client does is client is going to take a word, it's going to be a randomly generated word, and it is going to send it to the server. For example, here it says, server, are you still there? If so, reply potato.
Yeah.
And when the word is going to be sent to the server, the client is going to tell the server that this is a 6-letter word. And whenever you are going to reply it back to me, you need to use 6 letters or 6 alphabets to spell the word.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if I say, server, are you still there? If so, reply potato using 6 letters.
Okay.
And this message is going to be sent to the server. Server is going to save the input in some sort of RAM, some sort of memory, and then it is going to take the word from the memory and use 6 letters to spell the word POTATO, and
Yeah.
server is going to reply potato.
Yeah.
Okay. Now similarly, after a few time, after a few seconds, the clients want to ensure that server, are you still there? If so, reply with the bird, with the word bird, and use 4 letters to spell this word. Okay. The server is going to take the input, save it in memory, and it is going to send a reply back using 4 letters.
Yeah.
Okay. Here, the word is very important and the count is very important.
Yeah.
Okay. That is the thing. So what is going to happen if I say spell bird using 400 characters, not 4 characters, using 400 characters? What server is going to do is, server is going to take the word, save it in the memory, and when server is trying to retrieve the data from the memory, server is going to retrieve the initial 4 letters for bird,
Yeah.
and then additional 396 characters from the memory.
Okay.
See, server, are you still there? If so, reply hat using 500 letters. Hat is only 3 letters,
Okay.
and hat is going to be saved in the memory. And when server is going to reply, server is going to copy 500 bytes of memory from the data from the memory.
It will reveal the even the passwords also, right?
Yeah, so maybe, so we do not know
Yeah.
what is stored in the memory. So
Yeah.
this is like a trial and error method, and we are going to run it for few times, for multiple times, so that we can get some random data from the memory. And sometimes we can even get passwords being saved in the memory, sometimes sensitive password, keys, anything.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
I hope the vulnerability is clear now.
Yes.
Okay, just give me a quick minute.
Yeah. Sure.
हाँ अभिषेक. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so I have successfully ran this command, and see, when I did a hyphen n100, so this is what the count is all about. Like I'm doing this thing for repeatedly for 100 number of times. So
Okay.
I'm again and again sending server that use 500 characters to spell hat.
Okay.
Okay, so every time I get 497 bytes of random data from the memory. Okay,
Okay.
so that increases the probability of getting something useful from the memory.
All right.
Okay, and I have saved the output in this file called memoryleak.txt. Let's try to cat it, cat memoryleak.txt. And we have some data here. We have some data here. Okay, let's try to understand it. Ubuntu, good. Um, memoryleak.txt. We have some output over here. Okay, so actually I can see some Nmap scripting engine output here. This is happening because I have my Nmap running,
Ah,
and
okay.
these scan probes are being saved in the target memory. So let me
Yeah.
just stop it and run this thing again.
Okay.
This is going to be run this thing again. in my previous output, I can only see the Nmap scripting engine in the memory. Okay. And I cannot see any meaningful data here.
Okay.
Everything is filled with Nmap requests.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let's go back, and I'm running it again. So let's see if we get some new data now. The 100 times is going to take some time.
Okay.
Let it take its time. Okay, so it is completed. Let's try to read it. And the output is better. But I can see a lot of zeros here, nothing from the memory. Let me first of all remove this thing from the output.
Okay.
Okay. Let's do pipe grep hyphen v 00. So grep hyphen v is negative grep that remove all the lines which are having 00 in the output.
Okay.
So I removed them, and I can see here that there is some sort of dollar text is equals to something something, and it is some sort of encoded data.
Yeah.
Okay, AGVHC. This is probably base 64, as it is. This string is ending with 2 double equals 2. So
Okay.
I'll be copying this one, copy the selection, and create a temporary file here. Temp not finding. Paste it over here. This string that is relevant to me is this part, followed by this part, and followed by this part. Okay, let's remove this thing. Save this file. Cat temp front. So this is the base 64 encoded data.
Okay.
Okay. So there are two ways from here. One way is I can just go here on the website, and there is this decode and encode directories that exist on the target server.
Yeah.
This was being revealed by the GoBuster itself, right?
Yes.
So I can just paste my data over here. Click on submit. I can just paste my data over here. I can see this is the output. It says heartbleed, believe the hype. Okay. This looks like some sort of passphrase or some sort of key. Okay. Maybe we can use it somewhere else in the machine further down the lane. But as of now, it doesn't seems to be of any use to me. So let's go ahead and see my slash dev directory. In this slash dev directory, what I can see is I can see a file named as hype underscore key. Okay. And this file hype underscore key seems to be like a key file
Yeah.
by its name itself. It seems to be a key file.
Mhm.
Let's click on it. And looking at this character sets, I can say that it is probably some sort of hexadecimal encoded out data. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a hex to ASCII converter
Okay.
and control A, control C, control V, convert.
Yeah.
This is the file. Let's copy it Save it here, mouse pad. It was hype underscore key. Let's save it here. And by looking at this file, it seems to be like a SSH key,
Yeah.
private key file. Okay. And I know that I have a SSH port open. I have this file. It's a key file, probably an SSH key file. I have some sort of passphrase. So now the dots are being connected. I'm able to connect the dots. Let's save it now. Close it. Cat hype underscore key. Okay. ls hyphen l. If I need to use this file as a key, I need to change the permissions. Chmod 600 hype underscore key ls hyphen l. Yeah, the permissions are good enough now. Let's do SSH hyphen I hype underscore key hype as the username 10.10.10.79. Press enter. It says invalid format. Let's see if it is able to read this as a key or not.
So hype, how we got hype as username?
Because of the standardization in the naming of key files, SSH key. If you as a user, if I am the RKS user here on my card, if I try to create an SSH key file, the key that is going to be generated is going to be like RKS underscore key.
Ah, okay. With the username and the key, yeah?
Yeah, that's the standard nomenclature of key files,
Okay.
private keys, username underscore key, something like that.
Okay.
Now here it is, it's saying enter passphrase for key. So I can say heartbleed, believe the hype. I'm just typing it.
Okay.
Maybe it is wrong. So I'll just go and copy and paste it. Copy and paste it over here. Press enter. And I have successfully logged in.
Okay.
Okay. Right, right. Any doubt so far? Anything that is not clear?
So far, it's fine.
So far it's fine.
Yeah.
Okay. So now I have successfully gained access. That's one thing. I don't think I am still a root user. Let me just confirm by typing who am I?
Okay.
Who am I? I am hype. I am hype. I'm hype user. Okay. So definitely now I need to perform certain privilege escalation steps or techniques,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
So, okay, I already know the technique, but how can I do that? Let's try to do some failed attempts here. Let's try to go to Payatu guide,
Okay.
Payatu Linux Reverse. Looking for kernel exploits, I can do uname space hyphen a. Who am I? Uname space hyphen a.
Okay.
It says kernel version 3.20.23. And here I can see if the kernel version is less than 319, it is vulnerable to dirty cow.
Okay.
Okay. So that's one way of doing this machine. So this is one way of rooting this machine basically.
Okay.
But I'm not going to do it using dirty cow. I would say uh, I would leave this thing for you to try and explore. Okay.
Okay.
Try to look into how to use dirty cow, how I can do privilege escalation using dirty cow. Try to explore this stuff.
All right.
Let's move ahead. Actually, why I'm not doing this is because this is not the intended way of doing it.
Okay.
Actually, what happened was, I believe this dirty cow exploit came in 2017 or 16. Let me just confirm it. I believe it came in 2017, 2016. Yeah. So Dirty Cow came in 2016. It was revealed in 2016, and all the distros, all the Linux-based operating systems which were earlier from, which were prior from 2016, they became vulnerable to Dirty Cow.
Okay.
So all the CTF challenges or all these intentionally vulnerable distros designed before them, before this 2016, everywhere you will see that you are able to run Dirty Cow.
Okay.
So most of the times you should avoid kernel exploits, okay, because they can unstabilize the kernel as well, okay. But still, if you are not able to do anything else, so this can be a tool for last resort, okay. If you find kernel mismatch there, just run a Dirty Cow and you'll get a shell. I'm not going to go this way. Instead, I'm going to enumerate it further, and I'll try to find exploiting services which are running as root. Second option,
Okay.
netstat-antup psox grep root. Psox grep root, what this is going to do is, it is going to list all the processes which are running as root.
Okay.
Maybe we are able to exploit certain process. Maybe we
Okay.
are able to run something as another process or under the child process, something like that. So we'll see. Let's do psox grep root. And I can see all the processes which are running as root here. Okay. Now, again, this is also important. Like, you should be, see, in throughout the privilege escalation part, let me tell you one thing. Privilege escalation part is only going to be easy for those people who have a lot of experience with administering a system,
Okay.
who have been using Linux distros or Windows distros for so long that they can observe certain anomalies there. They know what our file permissions are, what our unusual permissions look like, how unusual permissions look like, what are standard processes running in a system. Okay, how does a non-standard process look like? Something like that. So here itself, what I can see is, I can see if I just go through it, I can see a tmux session running here. It says bin tmux space hyphen capital S slash deves slash dev underscore sys. So what is tmux? Tmux is a terminal multiplexer. Okay. You can definitely try to look into what tmux is and give it a try. Let me just show to you.
What is going on, everyone? This is Ipset, and this video is just going to be on.
Okay, so I'll be sharing this video link here. Okay, what tmux is all about, what is tmux, and see, basically, if I just give you a high-level overview, is tmux is a terminal multiplexer, and what you can do with tmux is, it's like I have a shell over here. Okay, this is a shell. What happens if I accidentally close this shell? Everything goes,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
Can I get all this output back? Whatever is been running here on this shell, on this terminal, can I get all that output back? The answer is no. I would not be able to get all of this output back.
Okay.
But what tmux allows you to do is, if I have been running this terminal under tmux, tmux allows me to manage these terminals with a session. Whenever I'm going to create something like this, it is going to create a session. I can create a session, I can save a session in a file. And if tomorrow I am going to close this terminal accidentally, I can just open that session back
Okay.
and I'll be right back with this terminal, whatever was happening here and with whatever permissions or whatever user was logged in here,
Okay, understand.
right? So still, I would recommend you to go through this that Tmux
Okay.
of Tmux video. So let's run this tmux file here. Hyphen capital S is the flag used for providing a specific session file,
Okay.
specific saved session for tmux. Okay, that's what hyphen capital S flag is used for. Tmux space hyphen capital X followed by the session file, the session on which you want to hop. So let's do this. I'm simply copying this from here and running it. Simply copy it from there. And Faisal, am I audible?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Because sometime I'm muting because my kid is coming and talking to me. That's why I'm
Okay,
muting.
okay, yeah, sure, no problem. So see, there's a lot of network issues, right? So I think that sometimes my voice is not reaching to you.
Oh, no, no issue.
Okay, so I just simply copied it from there and pasted it here. So it is running this tmux binary. Let's press enter. And I am inside a tmux session now.
Okay.
See this green color bar at the bottom. This is the sign for tmux that you.
Now you got access to root?
Yes, because that session file that I loaded,
Okay.
it was for a root session.
Okay.
It was probably created by root, and maybe this, yeah, definitely not maybe. It was definitely left unclosed. This session was left open by the root.
Okay.
Maybe the root forgot to close the session
All right. All right. Understand.
like that.
Yeah.
So who am I? Root cd/root.
ls cat root.txt.
And similarly, you can get the user.txt as well. The user.txt can be,
Home.
yeah, it is going to be in home/hype/user.txt, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah. So that is the thing.
Okay.
And again,
It's all
here we
about tricks and investigation, huh? Like.
right. It's all about identifying the standard and identifying
Yeah.
something that is not normal or something that is sort of anomaly. Okay.
Okay.
And here we are with another rooted machine. Okay. So let's to exit here. I'm back to my hype. CD. Where am I? PWD. I am in the home directory. Let's do ls. CD desktop ls cat user.txt user.txt. And here I can get the user flag and the root flag. So yeah, if you have any doubt, you can ask me now.
Sir, I will perform the lab and I will ask you because the problem is what I'm facing right now. I'm also preparing for CISSP exam, which is I'm going to write next month, end of next month or December first week. So I'm also spending time on
For CISSP.
studies for CISSP plus. So very hard to manage both. Seriously.
I can totally understand,
Yeah.
and that's why I would like to advise you that see, because CISSP and OSCP, both of them are like giants in itself. So I would suggest you to focus on one at a time,
Okay.
handle them one at a time,
Yeah.
so you would be able to achieve them as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. What I'm doing right now is I'm saving all the recording session. What I'm doing, I'm one by one, I'm watching, for example, like one day I'm watching one video recording session and doing the lab.
Right.
right? Through that I'm following. So no issues.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, sure. Sure.
Okay.
Okay, okay then. So that would be all from my side for today's session.
All right.
Have a great day
Thank you
ahead.
so much. If any doubts, I will ping you.
No issues.
Thank, thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Okay, you're most welcome. Have a great day ahead.
Same to you. Bye.
Take care. Bye bye.